Hi guys, it's Rainy, and today I'm going to be showing you my personal BDSM yes, no, maybe list. There are many ways to do one. This is my list that was in my contract with my master. The questions are answered as what I would like him to do to me, my willingness to do it. So it's rated 0 to 5. 0 is a hard no, which, unless specifically stated in a contract otherwise, no one can ask you to do or perform a hard no ever. That is the point of this, that is the point of the contract, and having this put together so you know your limits and your boundaries. They ask you in this specific list if you have experience in it. So you say yes or no if you've had experience. If you have, you say 0 to 5, your willingness to do it, basically saying how much you like the experience. If you haven't, you put 0 to 5, how willing you are to try it, which you must disclaim if you are a submissive or a slave, that does not mean permanently that that's what you will like. If you've done it before, your rating 0 to 5 stands in a contract. You don't change it. That is what they're able to do with you and to you. If you have not done it, I feel it's important to write that in and to say, hey, like I might not like this forever, and that way you kind of have like a safe situation for yourself. So here is my yes, no, maybe list for what I would let a dominant or my dom do to me, and my willingness to have it done to me, etc., etc. And I'm putting this out there just so people are more comfortable with it. Kind of gives you an idea of some of the things that might come up in a BDSM world, and maybe hearing someone else talk about them very openly and shamelessly is something that could help, maybe make a difference. And this is going to be very personal, very graphic, but it's something I feel maybe could reach somebody or make somebody think or feel something open and confidence actually about themselves. So here we go. So again, if I say yes, by the way, it is my experience. So if I say like a yes 1, that means yes, I've done it, and my willingness is a 1. Just so you guys know and aren't confused. So the first question is anal sex. How willing am I to have that done to me? Yes, I've done it, and my willingness is a 1. It is not for me unless it is specifically in a situation with 2 people, so like a threesome situation. I will not have a threesome with a man and a woman. It just throws me off. I do not like it. I will have a 3-way with 2 women, and I will have one with 2 men. So if I was specifically having one with 2 men, I would be 100% more open to doing something anally. Otherwise, it's just really not for me, and I don't get anything out of it one-on-one. But answering a 1 means your dominant or your owner, your master, he can still do that to you. He just knows you don't necessarily like it. So he may try, a 1 or 2, he might try to get you to like it and show you different things with it. But he also might not. He might avoid it depending on who you're with. So remember, 1 is still willing to do it. Just wanted to kind of explain that as we go along, give a little bit of an understanding to how this thing works. So next question. How do I enjoy being beaten with hands? I said yes, I had done it, and a 5. I like being consensually, safely, and sexually only. I like being hit, I like being grabbed, and I like feeling someone forceful. It's something that's a huge turn on for me. Being beaten with a padded club. Yes, and a 5. It's something I enjoy. Being bitten. Yes, I've done it, and a 5. I enjoy it quite a bit. Sometimes with the wrong person, it's just not the most enjoyable. Like, it's not quite a 5, but with my partner or my master, it is a 5. Blindfolds. For me, yes, I've done it, and a 1. Would do it if my master really, really wanted me to, but I don't see very well at all out of this eye, and it's something that just I don't get any pleasure out of, to be honest. So yes, but it's just not for me whatsoever. Let's see, where was I? Body paint. Yes, and a 4. I'm very willing to do it, and the reason it's 4 is I like when someone writes, like, would write like a message across, like, I don't know, somewhere blank on me. Something like that. I like that a lot, or a name, even if it's an insult, just being degraded in a specific scene is very nice. So I like body paint that way the best. Bondage and heavy suspension. Do I like being suspended or tied in a bondage style way? Yes, I do. Yes, I've done it, in a 5. Intricate Japanese style bondage. Do I like being tied up that way? Yes, I do, and a 5. Bondage, light. Anything new, basic, a starter kit. Of course, I've done it, and a 5. Do I like receiving bruises? Yes, and a 5 for sure. I absolutely love it. Do I like butt plugs? Uh, yes, I've used them. A very low 3 or a 2. If they're like my pinky, which is super, super tiny, maybe they're just not for me. Do I like being locked inside of a cage? Yes, I do. I love it. I love being like a kitten and just being in there waiting for, my master to let me out and play with me. I like it a lot. Do I like caning? Yes, I've done it, and a 5, but not extremely hard. A wood texture, like a cane or a hairbrush, I'm not the biggest fan of being very hard. Whereas like a flogger, something leather, I like that. I like that feeling to be very, very hard. So just not so much the wooden as opposed to the other. So I just wanted to adjust my camera. Where were we? Chains, yes, and a 5. Chastity belts, yes, and a 4. If it pleases my master, of course. Do I like being pinched with clothespins? Sorry, I couldn't talk there. Pinched with clothespins, having them attached to my body. Yes, and a 5. But not in every situation, just in a specific scene. It's not bad at all. I like it a lot. Cock rings and straps. I don't have a dick. But if it was on my partner, sure, I'd be open to it. Yes, I've done it. And a 5, if that's what makes them happy. Cock worship. Yes, and a 5. I adore basically worshiping every inch of my man and just showing him how important he is, especially that part of him. Wearing a corset for my man. Yes, if it's a lingerie type, and a 5 if it is that type. Cross-dressing. This is something not as a submissive, but yes, I would do it for a woman. I'm going to disclaim that here. I'm the male role when I'm with a woman. I don't let women control me. So yes, with them, but in this specific situation, yes, I've done it, and no, it's not for me to cross-dress with my man. Dildos. Yes, and a 5 if they're small. I do not physically touch myself while I am with my master, and he does not physically pleasure himself either. We feel it should be a bond between us, and that is something that I worship and I hold very strongly to. So when that was the situation, or when I'm with the master, it would have to be him using them on me. So yes, and if they're not huge. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love like a larger dick on a man. Nothing wrong with it. I'm very open to it. Something about a dildo being really big, just it doesn't feel good and it's just not right. Double penetration. Yes, and a 5. Absolutely. Erotic dancing for my partner. Yes, and a 5. So a few songs that I adore doing it to, and that is more so like sitting on my partner's lap and kind of like giving a erotic lap dance. That is something I absolutely love. However, like stripping for somebody, like a striptease, not so much. So erotic dancing on someone's lap. Exhibitionism, yes, and a 4. If it's in a safe place where we can get away with it, then for sure. I'm very law abiding. I go 1 under the speed limit. Like I don't want to, I don't want to get in trouble. But yeah, I do like it. Eye contact restrictions. If it's like being held or forced to like stare somebody in the eye, yes, and a 5. I like that a lot. Next page. Oh, by the way, really quick, if I didn't do it, and if I did, I'm sorry. The website, I think I gave it to you guys, but it's http://thatotherpaper.com/Austin/yes_no_maybe. That's where I got the specific list. And there are a few things that I wrote in myself, because there's a section where you can write in ideas and things you like. So some of the things aren't just on the list. They're what I wrote in at the end. All of this is printed out in what the person wrote in. So you can feel free to, at the end of it, write in whatever you want. You can use your own yes, no, maybe list. You don't have to do anything specific, but I wanted to give credit to this one. Face slapping. Do I like my face being slapped? Yes, and a 5. It is my all-time favorite. Not a punch, of course, so not a, but like a good slap, like a very good slap is my favorite. Just a hard slap to the face, especially just right in there. Something about that sting and that's your identity, your face. Like, this is me. This is my identity. And having somebody just take that and show that they're completely in power of it is amazing. Fisting. No, I have never even come close to it, nor could I. And 0, hard no. Absolutely not. No, no, no. Not for me. Flogging. Yes, and a 5. Following orders. Yes, and a 5. And I'm never a brat or sassy. I might goof around and tease in a non-sexual situation, but I love following orders and just being a good girl. Food play. Oh, by the way, flogging is a yes and a 5, and so is following orders if I didn't say it. I feel like I did, though. I'm sorry if I'm, like, forgetting everything in this video. It's really early in the morning, and I'm so tired. Food, cucumbers, sorbet, stuff like that. Yes, I've done it, and a 2. It's just, I don't get anything out of it, but if my partner likes it, I'll do it. Foot worship. I hate feet a lot. If they're in a like work shoe or a boot or something like that, I do get a huge pleasure out of foot worship. However, just worshiping bare feet, no. So I put yes in a 3, but I specified that it'll be more lower for when it's more like in a boot or work shoe. Do I like gags, cloth, or tape, or a gag ball? I said yes and a 5 for my, again, this is everything for being done to me unless specified. So yes, I do really like it, especially a gag ball. I'm completely willing to do it and have done it. A 5 all the time. It's something that's, I don't know, cloth isn't the greatest, but just like biting down into a gag ball while maybe being restrained is something I enjoy quite a bit. Genital sex, of course, yes and a 5. Hair pulling, yes and a 5. Especially, so many people do it wrong and they just, grab or whatever. You've got to go under and just really grab a good base. Like when you do that, a 5, it just, every time it's like I love it so much. It's really nice. Anyway, we're getting off track. Hairbrush spankings, yes and a 5, but not really hard. Again, I prefer leather to wood things that are hitting me. Hand jobs or receiving. So I'm guessing that means, getting fingered because you don't give a hand job to a girl, I guess. Yes and a 5 if it's done right. 4 or 5. Giving, yes and a 5 for sure. Giving head or a blowjob, yes and a 5, and it is my favorite sex act to do and perform. There's so many ways to use your tongue differently and different types of sucking with like your lips specifically very differently that make it not just a typical blowjob. I see so many people like give good blowjobs and it's like it can be artistic and very cool and very beautiful, and I don't know, it can be something that it's really nice. So I'm adjusting you guys. But no, it can be really, really nice. So that's my favorite. I love giving head. I'll admit that. Receiving, so getting eaten out. Yes, I've done it, of course. And a 2, maybe a 3. I generally hate it. It's not for me. I feel wrong being the center of attention, and I like to be the one pleasing. I've had a few that surprised me that I really did like it with, but for the most part, it's just not for me. Do I like wearing high heels? Yes and a 5. If it pleases my partner, it looks pretty. Do I like hot wax? Yes, if it's done right, and a 5. Yes, I've done it, and a 5 if it's someone experienced. It's not going to burn you in an incorrect way. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to be only pleasing. It's very nice. Ice cubes. Yes, and a 5. I love it. It is, if you get like hit with, let's say, a flogger, and then they put ice right on where they hit, and you can feel the sting of the cold ice mixed with the sting of the flogger and just it melting onto your skin. I love that, and I do love ice in many other ways as well. Being told to kneel in a corner if I was a bad girl, yes, I've done it, in a 5. Leather restraints, yes, and an absolute 5. Leather clothing, yes, and a 5 if it pleases my man. Wearing lingerie, yes, a 5, and I adore it. It's amazing to just look sexual for your partner. Manacles and irons, yes and a 5. I like being very restricted. Giving a manicure. I've never had a dominant ask me to do this, but I've done it with a female. So for a female, yes and a 5. I love to, do stuff like that, make someone happy, but I would absolutely do it for a man, but I've never had one ask me, and absolutely willing to do it if it makes them happy. Receiving a manicure, yes, I have, and a 4. It's not bad. And if that's what makes them happy and they want to make me look a certain way, I'd love it. Marks giving, if my partner wants me to only. Yes, I've done it, and a 5. If I am told to do so, I absolutely love it. Receiving marks, yes, I've done it, and an absolute 5. I love being marked and wearing a sign that I just belonged to someone in a moment. It's something I really enjoy. Giving a massage, yes, and a 5. I feel taking away all stress and all things bad from or for my dominant is something very important, and I love doing it. Receiving a massage, yes, I have, and a 2. Again, I like being the one to please and to obey, not necessarily the one to, I don't know, something about that, like I want to be the one pleasing you. I get my own head about it. Modeling for erotic photos. Again, my partner and I do not watch pictures. When I'm with a partner, I should say, we do not look at pictures, watch videos of other people, but we definitely take them together, and I'll take photos of myself and give them to my partner. I feel you should be comfortable. This is my skin. I mean, I'm tattooed, and I've made my body my canvas, and I want to share that with somebody I love, especially a master or dominant. And something about showing that and being confident enough to give your partner something like that is very nice. I'm not saying post it all over the internet or give it to everybody, but when you have someone you trust, I like showing them what is theirs. Nipple play and torture, yes, and a 5, especially with ice and wax. It's very nice. Do I like being orally, anally rimmed? Yes, it happened once to me, and it's a 0. A hard no, absolutely never. No. I hate it. Outdoor sex, yes, and a 5, especially like in the woods or somewhere at night, very like sensual. I love that. Over the knee spankings, yes, and a 5, but I prefer to be bent over or standing. However, I do love them. Pain mild to very severe, yes, and a 5. Phone sex, I said yes and a 5. Back in the day, it used to be the thing to talk on the phone dirty. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking a 5 with giving a story and a message. I write erotica, and I like to write out what I'm thinking about with my partner, how I want them, a scene that we did, or taking and sending dirty pictures. So a 5 in that situation. Being pinched, yes, and a 5 on my nipples, yes, and a 1 anywhere else. Play kidnapping scenes, yes, and a 5 if it's scripted very, very, very clearly. Punishment scenes, yes, and a 5, absolutely, especially if I deserve it. So I'm never a brat or sassy, so I don't know. If I make the littlest thing, I like to be corrected for it. Pussy whipping, so having my pussy spanked or whipped, yes, and a 5. A riding crop, yes, and a 5. Latex or rubber clothing, yes, and a 3. It's not for me, but if it pleases my partner, absolutely. Saran wrap, yes, I've done it once. It's a 1. It's really not for me. I'd prefer not to do it, but if that's what my partner needs. Scenes, prison or religious, etc. Yes, and an absolute 5. I've done some very dark and very dirty scenes, and they're very nice. Scratching someone. I have no nails because I like women too, literally none, and it's easier to not have long nails. So I do like it. It doesn't make a big difference. If my dominant is okay with me just digging my nails, into his shoulder or something, like I love doing that. It's something that pleases me a lot. So it's a yes and a 5 if he wants it and if I'm allowed. Receiving, yes and a 5. Nothing against it. Serving as a maid or a butler, yes and a 5. One of my favorite things is to hold a flashlight over my partner's paperwork or a book and stand silently while they work. I just love that. So I love pleasing someone that way and being like a servant to them. Shaving, yes and a 5. I don't do it sexually, but I shave arms, underarms, legs, pussy, completely bald. So it's something I do love, but not sexually. Shoe and boot worship, yes and a 5. I will lay as a kitten sometimes and put my head on a master's boot and just curl up next to him, or kiss his shoes as he walks through the door and show him that I live to serve him. So yes, I love it. Skinny dipping, yes, and a 2. It's not for me. Slutty clothing, private or public, yes, and a 5. Being spanked, yes, and a 5. Using a spreader bar, yes, and a 5. Standing in a corner because I was sassy, which is very rare, but when it is the situation, yes, and a 5. Being in a stock, I love it because to me, being a submissive is knowing in that moment, in that scene, he's living my life for me. He's being so heartless, or not heartless, wow, wrong word. He's being so selfless. Sorry, I'm just saying heartless. I'm not even going to edit that out because that was bad. But he's being so selfless, and there's nothing heartless about it. It's a beautiful situation where he's willing to literally take your life and live it for you so you have no problems. Your only worry is pleasing him. And so being so restricted while doing so adds a twist to it, and I really like it. So yes, and a 5. A strap-on dildo. No, not at all. I've never done it, and a 0 with a guy. However, yes, and a 5 if I were to be having sex with like a woman, because that is where I am in control. It's not my scene. It's not for me. I need to be a submissive and with a man to be truly happy. But when I am with a woman, I'm definitely 100% willing to do it and enjoy it. But again, not at all for this situation with a man. Swallowing semen, yes, and 5. Swapping or swinging, with other couples. Yes, I've done it when I was 18, and never again, no, 0, hard no. Swinging with multiple couples. I've done it in the past. No, hard no, 0. Tattooing, yes, and a 5, clearly, but not sexually. Teasing, yes, and a 5. The TENS electrical unit, yes, and a 5. Thumb cuffs, yes, and a 4. They're not the best. Tickling, yes, and a 0, a hard no. I hate it. I'll goof around and like tickle my partner's stomach or something like that, but very lightly, and just not, the second they start like resisting, it's like no, like, and that's only playful if they allow it and it's something they think is cute. Triple penetration, yes, and a 5 in the past, in the right situation, but again, it's not needed. Uniforms, yes, and a 5 if it's a police uniform only. Vibrator on my genitals, yes, and a 5, of course. Only if my partner's doing it to me, since we do not do those things to ourselves while we're together. Watching video recordings of myself or myself and my partner, yes, and a 5. Him or myself watching videos of others, together or alone, 0, hard no, and I've done it in the far past, but it is an absolute no for me. The violet wand electrical toy, yes, and a 5. Voyeurism, watching others, a yes for the past. I've done it, but it is a 1, because if my master has me, sometimes my master would bring in an inexperienced person who was learning how to be a dominant, and he would instruct them on how to do things, and we would bring that person into play. We would never, ever for any situation, keep them permanently. We would never do anything like that, and it's not a permanent situation. We never brought in a female. My partner feels that that is wrong. I'm his only sub, and I appreciated that when we were together, and that's how it was. But we did definitely bring in another person, and when he would watch, I enjoyed that because I felt like I was obeying him in the way he wanted. But in any other situation, that is a no. Let's see, wearing symbolic jewelry every day of my life, and that'll never change. It's everything to me to always have a lock around my neck that shows that I'm loyal to this lifestyle and to everything it entitles. And I love wearing kitten collars and DDLG collars. I've got a large collection of them that I've engraved everything. It's crazy. We have little tags. It's everything, and it makes me so happy to wear them, especially in public. So yes. Whips, yes, and a 5. Wooden paddles, yes, and a 5, but again, wood's not my favorite, so not super hard. Wrestling, yes, and a 4, but not sexually. It's not a turn on, but it's a lot of fun just to play with. Other ideas. Kitten space. These are things I wrote in. Being in a kitten space, yes, and a 5. Being in a little space, so acting cutesy and kiddish, like DDLG. Between like 3 and 5-year-old mental space, yes. I'll have like a pacifier, I'll be cutesy, I'll, talk in a playful little way, but I don't go as far as diapers and things like that. That would be like a 0 for me. But little space without that, and just with like the basic grounds of it, is a definite 5. Mild puppy play, yes, and a 3. It's something that it would have to be very mild and very lightly. Let's see. Having my partner watch is something we kind of get into, so I don't know, I wrote that in, but yes, and a 5 if they're instructing things and enjoy it. Let's see. Being read to, so like writing a dirty scene out very specifically and having my partner go over it and read it to me before we do something sexual, and or me reading it to them, or writing it together, maybe writing out something that we had done. Those are things that I do really, really, really love and I enjoy a lot. So that is the yes, no, maybe kinky list. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I know it's very personal, but I was trying to be open and show if it's safe, sane, and consensual, it's okay. And I'm going to get more into contracts and how they're done and how they're put together and what they mean as submissive. And again, you don't have to do this as submissive. You can write this out so your partners in general life, even you, can learn what you love in your heart and what makes you happy. And it's just a very easy way to have it written down instead of having to have an awkward talk. Whatever you're comfortable with, it can really help. I don't mind writing it out, having my partner write it out, or if they want to, and we sit down and we talk about it, and it's open and it's a discussion, and it's free because it's something you love and you're okay with, and it's all legal and consensual and beautiful. So don't be ashamed of this. That's the point of this video, is to don't be ashamed and don't feel there's anything wrong with any of this. It's what makes you happy and completes you, and please know that that's okay and that's beautiful, and that I'm here not going to judge you at all for it. And like, if it's illegal, I'm not for it. Don't be 18 with someone 17 if it's not okay in the state. Do what's right, follow the laws, be consensual, and know that you always have a little place on the internet that's going to be okay and going to accept you as you. So I really hope that someday this channel, this little corner of the world, like, makes some sort of difference, or makes somebody feel happy and accepted, or just like they're not alone. So maybe my openness with my sexuality, maybe it'll reach someone. And the biggest thing I can stress is be unashamed. Be unashamed in your skin and your body and who you are. Be unashamed and love you. If you're doing things right, don't let others get to you. I love you guys. Please stay positive, and I'll take some requests video-wise if you guys want. I just want to make this a very good, safe, and happy corner of the internet world. I love you guys so much. Have a good night, guys.